Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Philadelphia Mangoeng. Let's take a quick look now at the leading top stories. First up, the Dr. Kenneth Kaunda District Municipality gears up for the pivotal Town Hall COP on climate action, and Sons hacks mother to death with Public Works MEC condemning the killing of her departmental employee. In the business news, South Africa's G20 Legacy Programme to discuss energy efficiency in Africa. And in the sports news, we take a look at the National Employee Wellness Sports and Recreation Tournament. We begin here. The Dr. Kenneth Kaunda District Municipality hosted its important Town Hall Conference of Parties today. This event is set to facilitate dialogue among a diverse range of stakeholders to promote localized climate initiatives and strengthen municipal resilience in response to the global climate challenges. Under the leadership of Executive Mayor of the Dr. Kenneth Kaunda District Municipality, Nikiwe, the Town Hall Community of Practice engaged with community representatives, youth members, civil society organizations, the business sector, and academic institutions. The primary objective is to cultivate practical, people-centered climate solutions that directly addresses the unique realities and needs of local communities.
The event was hosted in partnership with the South African Local Government Association, the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment, the United Nations Development Programme, and the International Council for Local Environmental Initiatives. The Dr. KKDM Town Hall COP was part of a broader national series of such conferences taking place from August to October.
Under the theme Local Action, Global Impact, we gather here not just to talk about climate change, but to seek to act, to collaborate, and to lead. South Africa is a proud signatory to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. As part of our obligation under the Paris Agreement, we have committed to reducing greenhouse emissions, building climate resilience, and ensuring a just transition for our communities.
Present at the event was Executive Mayor of the Dr. Kenneth Kaunda District Municipality, Nikiwe, together with the Mayor of the City of Matlosana, Fikile Mahlopa, and Professor of the Northwest University, Rustenburg. Our team tracked the story in Klerksdorp. Let's get the details.
We need better coordination as government. We need better funding streams and funding models, but we also need better infrastructure that would give comfort to the private sector to come and partner so that we improve on the basket of finances that are available in the country. As a district municipality, it's almost a year now. We're waiting for officials to finalize a framework. We have taken a decision as a district that we are going to set aside funds as a disaster intervention team. District municipality Arona is prone to dolomatic, is prone to wildfires. We're the only district in the province that has got more than about 800,000 hectares of land that burned in the previous financial year. We were aware of it, we discussed it, and we took a decision that Matlosana, JB Max, Makwasi Hills, and a district municipality are during what we call a disaster management fund. That fund should intervene where there is a major disaster. Not because we undermine any other, but as part of support to our commercial farmers, part of our support to our emerging farmers who are critical in the preserving of food security in our space. So once we finalize that, and hopefully we're going to finalize it before our term ends, the district municipality would have already said we'll put 2 million aside. And we challenge municipalities to say, if you put in 2 million and you put in 2 million and you put in 2 million, already the fund would have an approximate 8 million in funding that will remain available. How we utilize that fund becomes critical.
Gompieno re kopane fa go tla go seka kgang ya phetogo loapi, which is climate change, le gore e re affectile yang re le toropo. O ka gopola mo dikgweding tse thataro tse di fetileng 6 months back, re le toropo ya Matlosana re le ra ipona re part of ditoropo tse ne di affectiwa ke climate change. mo e leng gore mafaratlhatlha a rona a ne a senyega, ditsela di ne di a senyega ka ntlha ya dipula tse di leng ra di iponela. Marogo a rona, which are the bridges, le tsone di ne di affectiwa ke dipula tse. Mme o ka itse gore seo se iragala at the backdrop ya gore re itse gore re toropo e leng gore ke toropo ya di-mine. Jaanong o ka itse gore di-mine fa ne di tswalwa, we are going to experience a lot of problems ha climate change iragala, issues like sinkholes and so on. So go botlhokwa mo go rona re le toropo go tla go tshameka karolo gompieno le di-stakeholders tsotlhe, mme re kgone go itse gore re partnera yang go addressa issue ya phetogo loapi, climate change. Mme se se botlhokwa ke gore re ruta yang baagi go nna karolo ya this discussion le gore re baakanya yang le go ka nna le maikalelo a go ka tsiboga mathata e leng gore climate change e tla le one.
We are here today as part of the United Nations drive to launch and roll out the Town Hall Conference of Parties known as COP. And the centrality of this event is to make sure that as local players, in particular local municipalities, we are localizing our efforts in curbing disasters that are brought by climate change. And what we can also indicate is that as a country, last year we managed to enact a legislation called the Climate Change Act, that amongst others, it actually calls upon localities to set up forums in terms of Section 9 of the same Act, where those forums would then have all the local role players forming part in terms of averting whatever calamities that might be brought by disasters.
Okay, so one of the biggest problems we face in climate change is this is a cross-cutting problem. It's not one thing, it's not something that one person, institute or government department can find a solution for. So we need a very well-functioning government that is integrating issues across all these different departments: housing, transport, environmental affairs, and this is very challenging.
In other news, the MEC for Public Works and Roads, Elizabeth Mokua, condemned the brutal killing of Ms. Ndebuntre, who was allegedly murdered by her own son in Musiane village near Mahikeng. Naunche was recently appointed to the department, having been employed as a road workers' aide in the Ngakamudiri Mulema district based at the Makubing Road Camp in Mahikeng for the past 6 months. The victim, a 48-year-old woman, was hacked to death with a spade by her 25-year-old son in full view of community members.
MEC Mokua condemned this brutal killing of a mother allegedly at the hands of her own child, which comes at a time when the whole country is grappling with the scourge of gender-based violence. She described this as a great loss to the department, especially at a time when there is a drive to recruit and retain women in the technical fields, mostly dominated by men. Ngakamudiri Mulema District Municipality Executive Mayor Khumalo Molefe is expected to visit the Ntre family on Thursday, the 9th of October in Pitsane to convey his condolences. Lieutenant Colonel Sam Tselengane of the South African Police Service in the Northwest Province confirmed that the investigations into the gruesome killing are underway.
The South African Police Service in Northwest Province is aware of a video circulating on social media platforms regarding an incident in which a 25-year-old boy hacked his mother to death at around 11 o'clock on Saturday, the 4th of October 2025 at Musiane View village in Mahikeng. The son can be seen in the video using a shovel to hack his 48-year-old mother to death. It is alleged that the aggressive and uncontrollable son later succumbed to his injuries after being hit by one of the shots fired by a neighbor to calm him down. The motive of the incident is unknown at this stage and investigations into the matter are underway. The acting Provincial Commissioner of Police in Northwest, Major General Patrick Asaneng, said, "The sadistic, gruesome and senseless death of a mother at the hands of her son is symptomatic of the scourge of satanistic ritual practices or drug addiction to which most young people are exposed to, and which unfortunately are often ignored by parents and a nonchalant, apathetic society.
In more news, on Tuesday, the municipal manager of the Rustenburg local municipality, Advocate Ashma Kudure, together with the MMC for Local Economic Development, Tabang Arampo, led multidisciplinary municipal teams on a compliance inspection drive across the local shops. Now, during the inspections, several business owners were found selling expired goods and failing to display the required business documentation. In addition, some tuck shops were discovered to have beds inside the trading spaces, while others had non-operational fire extinguishers, posing serious health and safety risks. Now, these violations constitute breaches of the municipal bylaws, and fines were issued accordingly. The municipality has encouraged all business owners to uphold health, safety, and ethical standards in the interest of communities. And on to this now, a team of 6 South Africans that were captured as part of Israel's authorities' interception of the global cement flotilla have landed on the South African soil. The flotilla comprises of humanitarian aid vessels seeking to deliver aid to Gaza. This after many of the detainees released videos calling on President Cyril Ramaphosa to call on Israel to secure their unconditional release, ensure their safe return home, and give assurance that the humanitarian aid is protected and makes its way unhindered to Gaza. A crowd of supporters, many waving Palestinian and South African flags, welcomed the team home at the OR Tambo International Airport. Let's take a look. Now, in an address to the media, former President Nelson Mandela's grandson, Mandla Mandela, spoke on why it is important for South Africans to be part of the global cement flotilla.
They were totally eliminated as we refused settler colonialists on our land. But what is also important for South Africans to note is that the 1884 Berlin Conference robbed us of our land and enforced borders upon our continent for the beneficiary of 7 colonial states, that being Belgium, Germany, UK, Spain, Portugal, and Italy, France included. We are a country, just as Palestinians are being forced with an Israeli identity. We were forced to embrace a South African identity which was posed by Westminster.
Moving on to international news now, at least 24 people were killed and 47 others wounded while protesting against Myanmar's military government after a motorized paraglider dropped 2 bombs on the crowd. Now, the military attacked on Monday evening as around 100 people gathered in Chuang Yu township in central Myanmar for a national holiday. Thousands have died and millions have been displaced since 2021 when the army seized power, triggering a civil war with the armed resistance group as well as ethnic militants. After losing control of more than half of the country, the army is making significant gains again through an especially bloody campaign of airstrikes and heavy bombardment. With that, let's get an update now on the business news. In the business news, the G20 nations acknowledge the vital role of energy efficiency in driving sustainable growth and meeting the Paris Agreement targets, as well as prioritizing enhanced energy productivity and increased investment in energy efficient solutions. This will be part of the discussions of the G20 Energy Transition Working Group at Zimbali, north of Durban this week. Deputy Electricity and Energy Minister Samantha Jane Graham-Murray says in Africa there are over 500 million people who do not have access to any form of energy. She was speaking at the legacy launch of the AFEEF in Durban, held ahead of the G20 Energy Transitions Working Group meetings. Graham-Murray noted that energy inefficiencies in Africa have reached levels of up to 60% in some areas, leaving millions of people completely without access to electricity and others without clean cooking solutions.
The efficiency facility is a response to this urgent need. The AFEEF is envisaged to serve as a continental platform to mobilize finance at scale with a target of $3 billion by 2030, to support member states to harmonize energy efficiency policies and regulations, to build technical capacity across our regions and institutions, and promote digitalization and innovation through systems such as energy management and appliance database. The benefits could be profound. By 2030, it aims to improve Africa's energy productivity by at least 12%. By 2040, it would have created over 1 million green jobs. It will avoid the need for up to 40 gigawatts of new generation capacity, saving billions in investment, and it will reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 300 million tons of CO2. AFEEF is not an isolated initiative. It is firmly aligned with the African Union's Agenda 2063 and the African Energy Efficiency Strategy. It directly supports the Sustainable Development Goals, in particular SDG 7 on energy access and SDG 13 on climate action. It contributes to the Paris Agreement commitments and to South Africa's own just energy transition, which prioritizes inclusive, affordable and sustainable energy for all.
And that's all from the business news. Up next, we get the very latest in the sports. In sporting news, the Northwest Public Works and Roads MEC MEC Mokua welcomed all participants of the National Employee Wellness Sport and Recreation Tournament co-hosted by the Northwest Department of Public Works and Roads, as well as the Department of Community Safety and Transport Management. The annual tournament, which is in its 20th year, is held in Rustenburg and is attended by government officials from all corners of the country. The officials will participate in different sporting codes, which started today and will run through until the 11th of October. The wellness tournament is expected to culminate in an awards ceremony on Saturday and is aimed at showcasing talent and boosting mental health within the public service. Now, MEC Mokua encouraged and pleaded with participants to respect one another, to show comradeship, and to use the tournament to improve on their well-being, which will result in improved productivity. Moving on to cricket news now, the Proteas women's team will face arguably their toughest challenge of the ICC Women's World Cup when they front up to co-host India on Thursday. India are in sublime form, having brushed aside fellow host Sri Lanka and arch rivals Pakistan to remain the only team with a 100% record at this World Cup. The Proteas, in contrast, endured a horrific start to the World Cup, suffering a 10-wicket thrashing to England before showing good character by bouncing back with an emphatic 6-wicket victory over T20 champions New Zealand. And that's where we're going to have to wrap it up for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. The team will be standing by tomorrow evening. Till then, good night and take care.